everyone, welcome back to Rhythm Railroad. This is update number 32 of my HO scale layout. So yes, it's been a while since my last update, and although I've been uploading small videos here and there, I've been extremely busy at work. Music teachers are usually going crazy during this time because of musicals, jazz festivals, concerts, etc., etc. And so I've been spending most of my days in school from like 7 in the morning until like 10 o'clock at night. But this week I was on spring break, so I was able to make a big dent on the layout. I was doing little things here and there whenever I found 5 or 10 minutes to get down here. But I was finally able to put large brackets of time into a little progress down here. So because of all the things that I've done in the last few days, I think what I'm going to do, rather than making one long video, I'm going to make it into sections, explaining just specific areas in the layout. So for this particular video, this first one, I'm going to start here at this engine facility that you see me panning back and forth with. And this is one of the biggest things I've done since I got down here. And the last time I showed this area, I believe I was only able to get up to right here where all these connections are. I'm not even sure that I had that in place yet, but I was able to get the split from the access track here in the yard out to the 3 tracks that go into the engine facility, and then also the other split here for the fueling tracks and the other storage track. So this is something new. I was only going to go here with these 2 tracks, but I was able to get one more turnout in here, which allowed me to create another track there. So now these 2 are going to be the fueling and sanding tracks, and this is going to be a spare storage track. Another thing you should know about the way I had this planned is that originally I was not going to go beyond the building as far as trackage. In fact, right here where this PVC pipe is, that was supposed to be kind of like the end of the scene. I was going to block it like that, and then this is all going to be covered with the fascia. But I decided to maximize the space a little bit because, as you can see, when I'm sitting here at what I consider track height, or just over track height, you can see the scene just fine. I mean, this is more than a foot here of clearance, and it's plenty to see back there. So I figured, why not use the space that I have? I mean, this is just basically dead space back there. So I moved all my wires back. I added bench work. I brought it out. I connected it all. So basically all this is new here. The piece in the back was there before, but it was just kind of floating. So I was able to create a box to support it. And then that allowed me to extend the 3 tracks coming out of the building all the way back there, which holds 2 large size locomotives, like as big as SD90 Max. I can get 2 of them back there, and they fit just fine. So now the scene is actually going to end around here somewhere. I'm going to put another piece of masonite here, and then I'll bring the fascia out this way. Now, the biggest thing with that modification was that I had to figure out what to do with the supports that I already had on there, as you can see, for the second level. And since originally I wasn't concerned with what it looked like, since it was all going to be covered anyway, I wasn't really that cautious about making it look nice. So originally I had a big piece of a 1x4 extended down to here. I also had a 1x3 behind it that was supporting this kind of T. And it was overkill. I mean, definitely too much. Plus I already had this other 1x3, which is now inside the plastic. I had it basically straight down, going through the bench work, and then tying in here. As you can see, the 2 screws right there. That's the size of the wood, the piece of wood that was there. But now, since this was going to be part of the scene, I had to clean it up quite a bit. So one of the things I did first is I rerouted the wires, which used to be in here, in that hole. So I cut it, I split it, and then I extended them and I tucked them up into the benchwork a little bit more. All that stuff's going to be tucked up anyway. But what I was left with was this thick piece of wood, which is definitely a problem with the way the scene looked. It just looks like, a giant piece of wood in the middle of the track work. So what I decided to do was trim the wood down to basically, I guess this is 1 inch or 3/4 inch piece, kind of the same as that, inside here. Now, I don't want to take the tube out because it was really hard to get on there. So this PVC pipe, I had to just cut a slit so I could basically, open it up and slide it into the wood. But the piece of wood, I don't know if you can see it in there, it's actually really thin. Well, not really thin, but it's just like that much. It goes down to here, and then what you can see how I cut it inward on both ends. Let's see if I can lift this. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, you can kind of see how I cut that. And so the bottom part is still there, obviously, I just showed you. But now by putting this PVC pipe here, I can mask that pole by pretending like this is some kind of sanding tank or, some kind of storage tank for material, fuel or whatever it is. I mean, I don't think fuel tanks are straight up like that, but I think, at least it passes for some kind of storage tank. And then I'll probably put another smaller tank here, and maybe I'll have like pipes. I'll make it look industrial, so it's not just like it doesn't look just like a piece of pipe. But I like this a lot better. It's less of an eyesore than what I had before. The top, I couldn't really do too much about it, and I didn't want to go too high with the, with the shape. I wanted to make sure I had enough support here before I got wonky. So I left it there. So that's cool. This I trimmed down a lot. I basically just chopped off all this material here and the piece behind it too. And I added this to take the place of, the piece that was here originally. So now it's a lot more low profile, and it's still doing the same job as far as supporting all that stuff. Plus I tied it into both benchworks here. So the lateral and the vertical support is greater than before probably. So that worked out nicely. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to cover it with building material, meaning like material that looks like a building. Not necessarily this wide, but I'm going to do something like this where it looks like, the building kind of wraps around. It'll go this way as well. So this way it's like some kind of a tower or something there. It just happens to be, close to the track, but at least it'll mask all that stuff. You could probably even go higher. Probably put it there. So playing around with that a bit, but definitely it's going to help the scene, and it's going to help the usage of this area. So let's go back to this side here, where I made this extra track here. So this is just basically one of those things that model railroaders tend to do, which is, hey, I have a little piece of wood left here. I might as well use it for something. Now, I know that's sometimes it's overkill, but this doesn't look that forced to me, this one track. In fact, I saw it on a drone video of a yard that had these little spurs coming out of the main area for almost like a repair and place track. But what I did notice is that they all had these almost like I-beam type rafters over the track. It was just long I-beam type things. And then they had these supports holding them up, obviously from the ground, like this, like a bunch of them. And I think that, I mean, I didn't see it in action, but I think the point of having that is to have it act as a harness, almost like a crane for any employees that have to get up here to, work on top of the locomotives. they can use a harness and clip themselves into that I-beam. And I guess the reason why it's all the way through is so you can kind of be safe anywhere you go along the track, depending on where you're working. So I think I'm going to do something like that for this little track here. It'll be like a little extra, workspace for the crew. Might add some nice detail there. So that's, like I said, even though it's not necessary, I kind of like it for that reason. So yeah, so this is now going to become the sand and fueling tracks. And the other good thing about extending the track work here, which by the way I have to add a little more right there, but the good thing is that before it was only I only had up to here, so I could only get one and a half locomotives in here and 2 there, maybe 3, but you'd be already in like the corner, like the foul point. So now I have plenty of room. So this way, I can make the platform for the, well, I mean, I guess I could start here or whatever. The platform for the fueling tracks for the for the crew and for the pumps and whatever's going to be here. But now since it's so long, now I can stack like a nice big consist of like 4 engines or whatever is going to be 5 engines if I ever need to do that. But that's kind of cool. Oh, the other thing I kind of figured with this track is that, let's say you have a consist like this one right here, and you want to flip them. You want to put the blue locomotive in front. One of the things you could do while you're in the fueling track here is that you could pull one locomotive up, pull the other one up a little bit more, and then switch them right there, without having to go into like the further points. And I know, again, that's not really necessary. You could just go to the further points and do it, but I just figured it's just another use for that track. Anyways, all right. So a little more about this area, and then I'll show you how the whole thing works as a whole. So the other part is these 2 tracks right here, which are now basically holding tracks or storage tracks. And that was kind of in place, but it wasn't locked in. It wasn't wired. It wasn't glued. Nothing. So all I had at the last video was up to here. So I added the connection point. I added all this, and now I'm able to store some nice long trains there, and they're kind of out of the way. So let's say you pull on a train. You go into the arrival departure track back there. You break off the train. You take your power. You go into the little lead that's on the other side that is not part of the main, so you can be out of the way, and then you can back in to here and then just shove yourself into that space. Or if there's a maintenance crew that's working on the on the locomotives and they need to get them out of the way, they can pull them up here and then just back them in like you see them there. So that's kind of cool too. Also, it opens up a lot more room, obviously, for for locomotives. I was able to test out sort of how much room I have, and I was able to get all these locomotives there. So the 4 D&H locomotives, the Lehigh Valley locomotives, the 4, and all the ones you see here, including the ones inside the building. I was able to get all that plus these 2, these 3, these 2, these 3, these 2 over there, and I still have plenty of room to add a bunch more. So I think I counted approximately, I can get 30 locomotives in here without it getting cluttered, and then I still have room over there for more. So I mean that's a lot more than I'll ever need to put in there, but at least I know I have the room, and and this way I don't have to keep storing them in the cabinets, because these are for holding whatever power I'm not using. But now I can keep them here, and I can have access to them anytime I want, which is nice. So that's what's going on here with the 2 tracks. The other thing is that because these turnouts here needed to be powered, meaning I had to put tortoise machines on them so that I can control them remotely. And the reason for that is because they're kind of they're shoved under the benchwork here, and it's really hard to get your hand in there. Plus, once there's scenery and locomotives in the way, you don't want to be shoving your hand in there and potentially knocking things over. So, and then so the reason why I had to do things differently here is because not only that problem, but underneath there's very little room for me to get my hands way deep in there. And the access point that I made, which is back there, doesn't allow me to see. I can reach in under there, but it doesn't allow me to see like the little pinhole that you got to stick the piano wire through. So I was like, forget that. I'm not doing that, you know, for both of those turnouts. So what I did instead is I created these channels with some tubing. This one, you can see it. It's right there. It goes under the track, under the other track, and out into this area. And I did the same thing with the one behind it. Goes under, and there. And then obviously there, at that point, they connect to, I'm just trying to do this without breaking anything. The two tortoises are in there. So what I'm trying to do is create some kind of removable scene, or just, you know, a little patch of scene, which is this, you know, this masonite board here, where I can just pop it off if I ever need access to the tortoise machines to adjust them or fix them or whatever. So that's how I'm gonna get that figured out. And it should be pretty simple. It's just a matter of getting some overlapping going on with grass or weeds or, you know, whatever, ballast, anything. And then, so what I did here is I tried to create a yard office, some storage sheds, and then this is going to be like a garage for any kind of, you know, vehicle, any kind of repair vehicles. So I'm probably going to eventually put lights, like headlights or maybe like flashing hazard lights in that truck right there. So this way it looks like it's coming out or backing in or whatever. But this allows me plenty of area for, you know, I can create a parking lot where the cars can park this way for the employers that are the employees that are coming in. Obviously this is going to get cut right here, so it's just a little overlap that I need for support, but this won't be here. And these I might move somewhere else so that I can have that parking lot there. Or I might shift this around as well, but this seems to be the best way to do it without getting too close to the track there. And then as far as the rest of the scenery, what I'm going to do is, again, use that building material probably, or some kind of photo backdrop to, you know, to cover this up a little bit, because it's just basically sky right now. But I'll create some kind of industrial looking thing back there. I don't have a lot of space. That's why I need to do either that or, you know, photo backdrop to kind of pull the scene out. So I'll figure out, you know, something, or a combination of both. And like you can see, I'm kind of messing around with that right now. I don't like it. I got these really cheap on eBay, and I'm not crazy about them. They look a little generic. But something to that effect, where it's like, you know, there's like stuff behind the scene here. And then I'll add trees. Once I get a little bit more room there, I'll add trees to kind of blend things in. And I'll definitely be adding trees around the corner here to kind of blend that corner into the back hills there. So when you take some kind of picture this way, you see trees there, and then you see trees in the back, and it kind of sucks you into that scene there. So that's basically what's going on with the yard. I wanted to just show you that the inside, I did a video on this already, but the inside is all lit up. And I do have it on a fader, which is nice because, you know, sometimes, you know, it gets too bright in there like that. But I can control the amount of light in there. Especially like if I'm gonna do a night scene, sometimes there's so much light coming out of there that it kind of like, it looks silly. So I can bring it down a little bit and just adjust it. So yeah, the only other thing I wanted to show you as far as like the whole scene, for those of you who haven't been like, you know, keeping up with my videos, the way it all feeds into it. So This is basically, this entire low, like main level of my layout is basically dedicated to the main yard, which is my classification yard. The main lines are in back here. That's the arrival departure track, and then I have these four storage tracks, sorry. And then the fifth one is basically the access track for everything around it, around the yard. So for the caboose track here, or whatever this is going to be eventually. And then obviously as you come around, you have access to both the storage tracks and the engine facility this way. So it's this fifth track here that connects everything. And then obviously, the yard is double-ended. So you got a throat here, and then you got a throat over there. But the other cool thing is that, sorry about the mess, by the way, I'm doing scenery work. I have to put stuff down. But the other nice thing is that even though the yard ends here, I do have an extension for the yard, which is back there. So there's 4 stub-ended tracks there for basically anything that leaks over from this side, or if you have a train already built, you can just, you can shove it back in there and leave it there until people are ready to pick it up during a session. But that's basically going to be it for my progress here at the engine facility. And I hope you enjoy this. The next thing I'm going to shoot the video on, or give an update on, is going to be the second level scenery work, which is happening right by the staircase. So more on that on the next video. Take care.